February 14, 2007. Mount Bora, New South Wales, Australia. 200 paragliders gather at dawn. They're here for training, warm-up runs before the 2007 World Paragliding Championships. Ewa Wiśnierska is 35 years old, Polish-born, German team member, World Cup champion multiple times. This is her dream, 20 years of training for this moment. She's one of the best in the world. The morning briefing comes with a warning. Storm clouds spotted north. Thunderstorms expected afternoon. Be careful. Ewa looks at the sky. Doesn't look bad. Few clouds, mostly clear. She's flown in worse. She sets her GPS tracking log. Checks her equipment. Lightweight jacket, t-shirt underneath. It's a hot Australian summer day. No need for heavy clothing. She straps into her harness, checks her paraglider canopy. Everything perfect. Around noon she launches from Mount Bora. The takeoff is smooth, beautiful. She follows the ridge north for 12 miles. Ground crew in van tracks her progress. Radio communication clear. Everything normal. She's riding thermals, warm air currents that lift paragliders. This is what they do. Find the lift. Stay airborne. Cover maximum distance. It's a training run, learning the terrain, getting familiar with the area. Then she sees them, 2 storm clouds ahead, one larger than the other. Most of the other paragliders see them too. Make the smart decision. Land. Get out of there. Storms are dangerous. Everyone knows this. Ewa's friends from the German team land. Look up. Watch her. 3 paragliders still in the air. Ewa, an Austrian friend, and a Chinese expert named He Jungping, age 42. All 3 confident they can dodge the clouds. Navigate around them. No problem. Ewa tries to fly around the smaller cloud. She knows the danger. If you fly under a cumulonimbus cloud, the updraft can suck you up. She's steering, adjusting, trying to skirt around it. She radios the ground crew. I can see the thunderstorm, but I'm escaping it. Flying with tailwind, should be fine. But wait, here's what she doesn't know. The weather is changing. Fast. In minutes the smaller cloud merges with the larger one. Suddenly it's not 2 clouds anymore. It's one massive storm system. 12 miles across, cumulonimbus, the most dangerous cloud formation, responsible for heavy rain, hail, lightning, extreme updrafts. The kind of cloud that rips wings off aircraft. Ewa is flying directly toward it now. She realizes too late. She's at 2,500 feet, comfortable altitude. Then she feels it, a powerful lift, stronger than any thermal she's ever experienced. She tries to descend, pulls on the lines of her paraglider, attempts a spiral emergency descent maneuver, banking sharply to one side, shifting weight. This should lock her into tight rotation. Descend at 60 feet per second. But the storm is pulling her up at 60 feet per second. She's not descending, she's climbing, fast. 3,000 feet, 4,000, 5,000. The spiral isn't working. She's being sucked into the cloud, hoovered up like a leaf in a vacuum. She radios ground crew, voice shaking. I can't do anything. It's raining and hailing and I'm still climbing. I'm lost. Now pay attention to this part, because this is where it becomes unthinkable. She enters the cloud at 6,500 feet. Everything goes dark. Complete blackness. Rain soaking her immediately. Then hail. Not small hail. Orange-sized hailstones, smashing into her face, her body, bruising her everywhere. She's shaking, cold, wet, all her instruments wet, freezing. The GPS variometer shows she's climbing at 77 kilometers per hour. Vertical, straight up. Thunder explodes around her. Not distant rumbling, right there. Deafening, then lightning, flashing in front of her eyes, behind her, all around. Blinding white flashes in pitch darkness. She can hear it crackling, feel the electricity in the air. Any second, she thinks, lightning will hit her, kill her instantly. Like it did to pilots before. Her paraglider keeps collapsing. The turbulence is insane. Air violently moving up and down, throws her around like a doll. She fights to stay in control, Can't. The storm is too powerful. She's completely helpless, just holding on, praying, please, please throw me somewhere from this cloud. At 10,000 feet, the cold becomes unbearable. She's wearing a t-shirt, light jacket, nothing for this. The temperature is dropping fast. 13,000 feet. She radios again. I can't see anything. I'm still climbing. I can't do anything. Her team leader on the ground is tracking her GPS, watching helplessly. She's rising faster than they can comprehend. 15,000 feet, 18,000, 20,000. The temperature at 20,000 feet is negative 58 degrees Fahrenheit. Ice forms on her paraglider, on her equipment, on her body. Her hands going numb, face numb, lips cracked. Can't feel her fingers. Orange-sized hail still pounding her. Each impact bruising, battering. But here's where it gets even more terrifying. She's at 24,000 feet now. This is the previous altitude record for any paraglider pilot to survive. She's in uncharted territory. There's no oxygen at this height. Air pressure a third of sea level, like being on top of Mount Everest. But she's not on solid ground. She's in a storm, being thrown around. Lightning everywhere, hail everywhere, ice everywhere. Her thoughts turn to her parents. Can't die, have to survive. Dying is not an option. Can't do this to them. She's not religious, but she starts praying. To God, to anything. Just survive, please. The lightning flashes. She keeps climbing. 26,000, 28,000, 30,000 feet. She tells herself, I'm in the hands of God now. Then she feels it. Overwhelming fatigue. Can't fight anymore. Too tired. Oxygen deprivation shutting down her brain. At 32,000 feet, Ewa Wiśnierska loses consciousness. She's unconscious for 45 minutes, still strapped to her paraglider. Still in the storm, frozen, covered in ice. Her GPS keeps tracking, up, down. The storm throwing her unconscious body around like a rag doll. Up to 32,986 feet. Her maximum altitude according to GPS data, higher than Mount Everest, higher than commercial jets typically cruise. She's in the stratosphere, unconscious, frozen, dead to the world. But the truly shocking part, she's still alive. 45 minutes later she wakes up, still in the cloud, still in darkness, but something changed. The air is calmer, still turbulent but not as violent. She looks at her GPS, 22,966 feet. She's descending. The storm is releasing her, but she's still too high, still in danger, still freezing. Her paraglider is soaked, heavy with water and hail, ice covering the canopy. She tries to spiral again. This time it works. The calmer air allows her to control descent. She spirals downward, slowly, carefully. The paraglider is so heavy it could collapse any moment. She has to be gentle. Then she sees it, the most beautiful sight of her life, the ground, earth. She's coming down. She can see the Australian savanna below, trees, fields, life. She's going to make it. She's actually going to survive this. But here's what nobody expects, and this is the real miracle of Ewa's story. She lands 3.5 hours after takeoff, 60 kilometers from where she started, miles from anywhere. She collapses on landing, exhausted, frozen, bruised everywhere. Her ground crew tracks her GPS signal, rushes to her location, finds her alive, conscious, talking, suffering from frostbite on hands and feet, covered in bruises from hail, mild hypothermia, but alive. She's one of the luckiest people alive. The organizer of the championship, Godfrey Wennis, says it later. It's like winning the lottery 10 times in a row. There's no oxygen up there. She could have suffered brain damage. She could have frozen to death. She could have been struck by lightning. But she survived. Because here's the thing that makes this story even more tragic. He Zhangping didn't survive, the 42-year-old Chinese paraglider who flew into the same storm, who made the same decision as Ewa. His body is found the next day, 75 kilometers from his launch site. Post-mortem examination shows he was struck by lightning, killed during the ordeal. He didn't have Ewa's luck. Same storm, same conditions. 2 pilots, one lives, one dies. Ewa learns about He Zhangping later. The guilt hits her hard. Why did she survive? Why not him? He was experienced, expert level. Why her? No answers. Just survivor's guilt. Just grief for a fellow pilot who wasn't as lucky. The story makes international news. Champion paraglider survives being sucked to 33,000 feet. Higher than Everest, unconscious, frozen, covered in ice, pelted by orange-sized hail, lightning all around, zero oxygen. She survives. Medical experts can't explain it. Meteorologists can't explain it. It shouldn't be possible. In 2010, ABC One and France 5 make a documentary about her miracle in the storm. It wins Best Cinematography at Australian Film Institute Awards. The film tells her story, shows the GPS data, the altitude graph, the temperature readings, the impossibility of her survival. Ewa continues paragliding, returns to competition, wins more championships, but she's changed. Every time she flies, she thinks about that day. Every time she sees storm clouds, she remembers. Every time she takes a commercial flight, she looks out the window at cruising altitude, 32,000 feet, and thinks we're high but not as high as I was. She thinks about He Jianping, the pilot who died. She survived the same storm that killed him. She knows how lucky she is, how close she came, how easily it could have been her body found 75 kilometers away. But it wasn't. She lived, against all odds, against all logic, against all medical understanding. She teaches paragliding now in Bavaria, Germany, runs courses in personal development, shares her story. Not just the survival story, the whole story, the decision to fly despite warnings, the mistake of underestimating the storm, the helplessness of being sucked upward, the terror of lightning, the cold, the ice, the unconsciousness, the miracle of waking up, the guilt of surviving when others didn't. February 14, 2007. 200 paragliders training in Australia. One massive cumulonimbus storm. 2 pilots caught in updrafts. 1 dies from lightning strike. 1 survives being pulled to 32,986 feet. Unconscious for 45 minutes. Covered in ice. Temperature -67 degrees Fahrenheit. No oxygen. Orange-sized hail. Lightning everywhere. 3.5 hours airborne. Lands 60 kilometers away. Alive. Ewa Wiśnierska, German paragliding champion, survivor of the impossible. The woman who was pulled higher than Mount Everest by a thunderstorm and lived to tell about it. The woman who lost consciousness at 32,000 feet and woke up still in the storm. The woman who spiraled down through ice and hail and darkness and lived. Her story isn't just about extreme sports. It's about the raw power of nature, the fragility of human life, the impossibility of predicting survival, and the guilt of being the one who makes it when others don't.